He may not come included with a dart, but you may still want to dart to Walmart to grab one. Here's your look at the brand new Jazwares Stranger Things Season 5, the Upside Down Collection, Dustin with accessories. Keep the team united with the Stranger Things Dustin Henderson Upside Down collector figure. This authentically scaled 6-inch action figure is based on the lovable Peacemaker's appearance in the 5th and final season of the hit series Stranger Things. It features 33 plus points of articulation and a soft good clothing to highlight authentic character details. It also comes packed with alternate faceplates and unique character accessories to recreate the iconic moments from the show. He seems to come with a map. Bruh, I could have just told you could have gone to Walmart to find this figure for yourself. Yeah, this 6-inch Dustin is available right now either in the stores of Walmart or you can also go online. Not really having the most success to find these in the stores, I did instead go to walmart.ca and I found them there. Both him, 11, and the Demogorgon, all in 6-inch scale, sell for $29.97, again in stores or online. Let's take the tape measure and see how Dustin stands. Then we'll bring in the already mentioned 2 other figures. Dustin with his hat on seems to stand at 6 inches in height, working out to be a figure that's 15 centimeters tall. Dustin here seems to represent the 3rd and final figure of Wave 1 of the Jazwares Stranger Things Upside Down collection. We've just recently, in fact, actually this week, we looked at 11, and prior to that, we also looked at the Demogorgon. Demogorgon obviously is going to be a little taller than the other 2 figures, but they all fit in scale with one another. Having one more accessory than 11's 4 before, Dustin does come included with a backpack similar to 11, a flashlight, a map, a swappable faceplate, and a soft goods jacket. You know, whatever feelings I may have about the quality of plastic that Jazwares is choosing, and maybe while the sculpt may be somewhat questionable, having though the inclusion of soft goods jackets and also swappable faceplates elevates, I feel, this line, considering the figures only are about $30. I think by including those 2 things makes them feel like they're a little bit better of quality. The figure does have, first of all, a flashlight. Would you be surprised to believe that it's the exact same flashlight? I know you're probably looking at that and thinking, no, that's not the same flashlight. 11's, though, was black and brown. Dustin's clearly is in silver. Well, no, I mean, the sculpting is the same. They just chose to use a different color plastic. 11's was really badly warped getting out of the packaging. Dustin's flashlight doesn't seem as bad. They both, though, seem like they're draining down on the batteries. What would you be using for batteries back then? All AA's? No, not AA's. You'd be using D's. Nothing but D's. Big, honking, expensive batteries. You drain these things down. Remember those big blocked batteries? Then, of course, you would use the flashlight on top of that. Man, those things were so expensive. But yeah, the flashlights, though, seem to be exactly the same. They also attach, though, well, they sit inside the backpack the same way as well. I haven't yet removed 11's backpack, so you can see that Dustin's is quite a bit bigger, though. But it works, though, the exact same way. There's a front flap here that you can open up. And he definitely does have more compartment space inside. Probably more so because the figure does also come included with a map. I'm sure it's not to go to One-Eyed Willie's castle or his ship out in the sea. But though it does give you a backpack space enough to store the map inside. And at least, unlike 11's, if you don't drop it on the floor, mind you, it does at least allow you to get the map out there a lot more easier. You can also take, of course, the flashlight. The flashlight does tuck in there too. And then you can close it up. It will stick out a little bit more because, again, like it's taking up a little bit more space now because, of course, I got the flashlight and the map in there. But you can store both accessories in there. I like that. The backpack does have rubbery plastic for the straps, so of course that does fit over his body. Whether you want to though use the jacket or you don't want to just have the jacket on there altogether, it just slides up his arms the exact same way. Maybe what we'll do is I'll put it on right now so you guys can see what it looks like, and then I'll put the jacket on a little bit later. There's a little bit more room to grow. I mean, a little bit more room to go. I mean, the strap itself seems a little bit on the loose side for Dustin. But again, it's much easier, at least, to get this on the figure's body than having super small straps. Super small straps. Let's put that off to the side. Dustin also comes included with his jacket. The jacket, I think, for what it is not bad. It does have, again, little snaps here, but there are more images than anything else. These little loops that are actually on the belt are just pictures. They're not real things. Just all in your imagination. He does also have buttons on the sides, but again, all in your imagination. It does fit over the figure's frame, and it fits the same way, though, as 11. I mean, basically, we just bring the arms back and slide those up the arms. I'll do that also in a second. The last thing, though, that Dustin does also come included with is a swappable face. Let's pick up the figure right now and show you guys the differences between the two. I would gather, though, that he's currently having a smiling face. Dustin, I hate to say, is probably in that awkward stage right now. We all have that moment. You know, you start to get those growth spurts. Parts of your body start to grow a little longer, like his neck, for example. Oh, boy, we'll talk more about that in a moment. But yeah, Dustin's sort of entering now into that awkward stage of growth. The face, I think, is a little more weirder on the defaulted head, defaulted face. I think this head sculpt is a little bit better of the two. Swapping out the faces, though, is just a case of popping the face off, which I noticed, though, with Dustin's, his was a little harder to get off. And you kind of have to, let's not lose the face in the process. Pop that off, and what you'll get underneath, though, is a weird-looking ball joint. Because it's unlike 11. 11's, I just take that off for a sec. 11 actually did have like a little peg right here. But Dustin's literally seems to be sitting on a ball joint. How weird is that? It looks like some monster you could see from Doctor Who. Why are we referencing Doctor Who? But it sits more so on the ears. So if you look at the indentations here on the sides of his hair, that's sort of the thing that keeps this faceplate in place. I think it's definitely a better looking head sculpt between the two. Where's the other face? Oh, it's down there. Can I reach it? No, I can't reach it. If only I had telekinetic powers. I don't have that yet. For the rest of the figure's body, again, this is kind of where things get a little more awkward with Dustin. I mean, again, he's got what really is a weird, long-looking neck. Why would you ever want to give a figure, unless this is the way that the actor does look like in real life? If that's the case, he seems to be growing his neck a lot longer than everything else on his body. The neck, though, I think is just strangely, and not even Stranger Things strangely, just strangely, bizarrely longer than I think it needs to really be. He does have, again, like all the articulation where it counts, but I feel like could we not have maybe shortened the length of the neck? I mean, not Florence Pugh level of neck length, but maybe make it a little shorter than what it actually is. The one other issue I really have with Dustin isn't so much so the fact the figure does have a Hellfire t-shirt. I like that. I want to get my own Hellfire Club t-shirt. The problem with it, though, is even though he has a ball joint, and I do appreciate that he does, it almost does really look like it's two separate figures from two completely different lines. By having so much space here in between his waist and the lower end of his abdomen, it almost does seem like they've slapped the top half of Dustin onto a lower half of another figure. It's just a weird looking combination of just shapes and lengths and sizes that don't make sense between the neck and then just the abnormality of having like the waist sitting the way it is. It makes Dustin look off proportioned, even more off proportioned, I'm sure, than the actor is in real life. I mean, again, like the colors look pretty good. I think they've done a nice job of using like the yellow here for the hat. I don't know if he actually is supposed to have anything on his hat or if it's supposed to be blank like this, but at the very least, they took the time to print on the Hellfire Club logo, and I think that looks good. It gets, sadly, though, broken up the moment you start to move the figures around. I mean, again, you're going to start to cut the devil's face right in half. But all in all, I mean, like, it looks the paint looks, I think, probably the best thing about Dustin. And I think even like this face looks a little bit better than the first one we start with, the other one that's just down on the floor right now. If, by the way, though, you did want to get his jacket on, we'll kind of look at that more in a second. Let's kind of run through the articulation here for the figure. Dustin's head, if you overlook the fact he's got such a long neck, is actually technically on a ball hinge joint. So you can move the head up and down. You can also move it back and forth as well. It's almost just a shame that you can actually just lower the head a little bit to draw less attention away from such the long giraffe neck that he has. He does also have a ball joint, really, at the base of his neck as well. You would hope, at the very least, the guy with a neck this long would also have a ball joint there as well. The arms rotate all the way around, no issues there. You can also as well bring Dustin's arms out. The thing I've also noticed too is with Dustin's arms, the way they've curved down his shoulders, it looks even more strange when you bring his arms out. Again, it kind of even looks like his arms belong with another figure. Like maybe are they the wrong length? Maybe they're too short for the rest of his body. Should his arms stop down there? What are we doing with Dustin's body? Stop that. But yeah, his arms do rotate all the way around. You can hinge them out. There's a swivel here at the bicep, a double hinge on the elbow. That's not bad at all. And the hands rotate all the way around. Are they still using, though, the softer plastic? You know, surprisingly, not as much. I mean, it's weird, though, when you look at like 11. Look at like 11's fingers and the soft plastic that they've used here. And I criticized with 11 that she just sort of felt like she had that kind of gummy plastic. Dustin, strangely, though, enough, doesn't have that. He doesn't have that sort of flexible plastic in his hands. It certainly doesn't feel like he has that either in his legs. It's almost like they're using a completely different plastic between 11 and Dustin. Still, though, the figure does have, like I said, a hinge back and forth. You can rotate the hand all the way around. It has an upper torso ball joint, so, you know, take with that what you would want. I mean, again, you can rotate the figure's torso back and forth, up and down there as well. He's got a lower abdomen ball joint, too. And as awkward as that may then look, again, you got some fair bit of flexibility there. The legs do split out. There's ball joints there. But again, like it does that weird thing that when you bring the legs out or you bring them forward or back, it always drops the legs down. I guess in one way it allows Dustin to sit down on the job. But I mean, if you're not going to be giving it any like vehicles or anything like that, not that I necessarily need vehicles for Stranger Things, but it just seems weird though that they have drop down legs like this if you really can't do I mean, again, like if you want to do high kicks, I suppose you can pull that off, but it's always just more of a cumbersome issue than it is anything else. There's a swivel there at the top of the thigh. Figure does have a double hinge on the knee. And then ankle articulation, which again is not a bad thing at all. And there's also a rocker there as well. Pegals on the bottoms of Dustin's feet, the same way though that 11 also had pegals on the bottoms of her feet. Let's get him all dressed up. He's going out on the town, probably investigating something with the map that we just put inside his backpack. But if we take his arms, we bring them back just a little bit. We're going to want to slide those arms inside the sleeves, get them all the way in there. It's like dressing, again, a tiny, tiny little child. I mean, that's a pretty small child. That's a child that you could put in your pocket. Go to the park. Where's your kid? Oh, I just put the kid in my pocket. It's that small of a child. Let's get it around the thumb, though. The thumbs kind of get in the way of things. I guess you probably could have taken the hands off. I just kind of keep everything on instead. And that's Dustin. That's what Dustin looks like. I mean, he still fully retains the articulation. Yes, I know, again, like just pretty much have used images for the buttons, and just again, like they've done the same for the back. I don't expect necessarily them to start add tiny, tiny little buttons, tiny, tiny little loops on the back of the jacket. That's added cost. That's cost that would go into the price of the figure. And then instead of having Dustin being a figure that sits though closer around 30, he actually would then probably sit around, I don't know, what, $35, $38 for all those little attentions to detail. I think the attention to detail, though, of Dustin are okay. Again, he sort of seems like he's an amalgamation of weird kind of choices. Maybe the choice for giving him a longer neck had a lot to do with just the way that's maybe the way the actor is right now. He's getting through that awkward growth stage. Maybe they also chose to give him a longer neck because he has a collar on the top of his jacket. But, you know, again, like we looked at 11. 11 didn't seem to have that. And, you know, when you look at the scaling of the two figures, is this the right size between actors and actresses? That 11, in fact, Millie Bobby Brown is that much taller than Dustin in real life? He certainly isn't as tall, though, as, even though that's not Dart, he's not certainly as tall, though, as the Demogorgon. It's an okay line. I mean, again, like it's hot or cold for me. Like, I think some figures have done a little bit better. There are aspects I think I like a little bit more to 11. Dustin, I think, maybe pulls off not a bad face, but like just, again, thrown together weird proportions. Like where 11, for example, just had, well, she didn't have necessarily, like the articulation wasn't though in her waist. Dustin had that, but I guess the trade-off with having articulation then in the waist is that he looks like the top half of his body belongs to another figure and the lower half belonged to somebody else. I feel like Dustin, unlike 11, better suits wearing his jacket more for necessity than anything else. It draws a lot more attention away from the fact he's got an extremely long neck. And I had to look online. Gaten Matarazzo, who played Dustin in the series, how long has it been since we first started watching Stranger Things? I mean, it feels like the show's been running for at least 20 years, but now we're coming up to season 5, the final and ending of this season and series. But yeah, I mean, Gaten doesn't look like he's actually got a super long neck. So that probably was just the choice of Jazwares that they chose just to give Dustin, reasons unknown, a very long neck. Between the length of the neck and then the awkwardness that he has in his abdomen area, we're drawing more, though, attention to the fact that this character seems just a mismatch, bunch of parts all kind of coming together. His arms are, again, one thing that, unlike 11, it's weird, though, that they're using a harder plastic for Dustin's hands, and yet they used more of a gummier plastic for 11. It's just strange choices on Jazwares' part. Still, though, if you guys are interested and you would like to get Dustin for yourself, the previously looked at 11, or previous to that, the also Demogorgon, the 6-inch versions of them are available either in Walmart. I'm sure they're probably also available in other places as well. Or you can also go, what I ended up doing, just go to walmart.ca, and they're available there. $29.97. That'd be the price that it sets you back. I'm speaking, though, as a Canadian collector. Some could say that's really high. I think, again, they're kind of offsetting some of the expenses and the cost of producing these figures by throwing in soft goods jackets, by also including swappable faceplates. That if those things weren't included with the figures in the first place, let's just say like Dustin only had a flashlight and only had a backpack, I would probably say like $30, I don't know, Jazwares seems a bit more on the steeper side. But by then, also including those two things mentioned before, the faceplate and the jacket, I kind of feel, again, like it offsets some of the sting of paying $30 for a figure. And in the end, it's not a bad Dustin. I don't think it's maybe as good as 11. It's sort of middle of the mark. Middle of the mark so far as my takeaway, my walk away when it comes to what we've gotten so far from Jazwares and Stranger Things. You guys agree with that? Disagree with that? It's okay. You don't have to agree with everything I've necessarily said. But what do you guys think of the Jazwares so far when it comes to 6-inch or the 4-inch Stranger Things Season 5 Upside Down Collection, whatever you want to call it? What do you guys think of this line so far? If in the meantime you guys also did enjoy this video, come on now, do it a solid, throw it a like. If you guys want to stick around for more so, I certainly hope so. There's going to be more videos coming your way, not necessarily Stranger Things related, there will be more content coming your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.